Hello and welcome. My name is Binta, and as you know, today is another day for more true crime and thrilling videos, right? So if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't followed, if you haven't liked, if you haven't, please do. At the end of this video, I guess I'll give you a reason to, right? And today's story is actually very perplexing, like it's dumbfounding. You know how you hear stories and you're like, this couldn't have happened in real life. Yeah, this is one of those stories. I mean, it is like a badly written movie. You wouldn't believe that this actually happened to someone. Yeah, it actually did. Well, before I get into the video, I would like to give a few disclaimer, right? Viewers' discretion is always advised, please, and we do not condone or support any of the violence that I will be talking about in this video, right? So this video was made using just public records, so everybody can, you know, you could check it out if you're so inclined, right? So without further ado, let's get into the video. So this story started in 1996, right? September 10th, 1996. We're going to start off with talking about Sally McKay, Sally Snowden McKay. She was a woman in her 70s. She's from a long lineage of landowners, real estate owners. Her forefathers, came into the land business, early, and they acquired a lot of land. So the family was quite wealthy. She inherited the land, of course, from her, parents, and then she was doing well. Now that she was in her 70s, I guess she was getting ready to like retire and, bring a successor, right? Well, one evening, Sally was having a drink with her cousin. Her cousin is called Lee Baker, and he's actually said to be a local celebrity. He's a musician and he performs in high class events and whatnot. Yeah, and I forgot to mention that Sally, part of her property, because the house was big, it was like a mansion, straight from like a movie, right? So what happens is that she decided that half of the property is not used, so it's just her husband, and three of her girls, right? So what does she do now? She decided that half of the building is going to be used for commercial purposes, like for private lavish parties, for like high class, weddings and receptions, and just, something very cool that you just come and do your event and pay them and go, and the mansion was overlooking a lake. It's quite beautiful, like the edifice. Come on, it was beautiful, and I'm sure I'll put the picture somewhere here. So yeah, she was having a good evening. This is a woman that had done a lot for her life. She's now in her far adult years. She's just sit back, relax, and see what else life has for her, right? Well, that evening she was relaxing with her cousin. Then somebody barged into the house. It was late evening, her children had gone to sleep, and she was all alone, like her husband had died, a lot earlier. So it was just her and Joseph, just, having quiet evening. This guy broke in. That is 16-year-old Travis Lewis. Now Travis was just 16 years old, but he was a menace. He was a menace. He was not a stranger to any of these people. What I mean is that Travis's mother works for Sally. She was a domestic staff for Sally, right? And then Rebecca, her cousin, used to teach Travis in during his high school days, right? So he knew both of them. One was his lecturer, one was his teacher, and then one is his mother's employer. So he knew them, and that is how he got to know the house. I guess he was just eyeing the house. It's a beautiful house, like I said. So he just wanted to come rob the house. According to him, he didn't know that there would be anybody in the house at that time of the night. He thought everybody would be sleeping or something, right? Well, when he saw these two people, according to him, he panicked. Yeah, according to him, he panicked and he shot both of them, right? Yeah, he shot both of them and then he ran away using Sally's car. Now, before he ran away, he decided to set the house ablaze. I guess I don't know what was his thought process, but like he just wanted to, like, I don't know, all of the evidences. He wanted to burn everything off, right? So on his way trying to get away with the car, he ran off the road. I guess he was, maybe he was not a good driver, or maybe should I say he was tense and he was running away from whatever, and then so he crashed the car. So he came down from the car and ran on foot, right? So Miss Lewis was kind of known to the police. His elder brother was known to the police. This is a family of black. This is a black family, whose mom is doing, I don't know, doing a lot of work to like make sure her family is okay. Make sure her children are fed. But the children are said to be troublemakers. You know, initially the police were suspecting Travis's elder brother because Travis was just a kid, and they do look alike, right? But later they found out it was Travis. Yeah, so Travis was taken to court, right? He said all the good things. He was like, I was just a kid. I panicked. I didn't know what to do. Please forgive me. I'm never going to do this again. Please, I'm a kid. I had a rough childhood. The whole shebang, right? So, the court, it was a very serious offense. Like you unalived two people. So, of course, you're going down for it. So, the court sentenced him to 28 years, which is fair, I guess, which is fair. So now we're going to involve somebody else into this story because normally most of my stories would have ended with the culprit, going to jail, right? No, not this time around. This time around, the story started when he went to jail. Now let me introduce Sally's daughter, Mata. Mata McKay inherited the mansion from her mother, you know. So what did she do? She didn't make the whole situation, made her stronger. She didn't like had any haunted feelings, towards the mansion. She decided that her mother would want her to make the best of it. This is her mother's legacy. She wouldn't want to, let it just go like that. So she was trying to like keep up the legacy. So she was remodeling the place. She opened the place to bigger audience. She was making more money. Business was good, right? Everything was fine until Mata decided she wanted to dabble into Buddhism. Now, Buddhism, I don't know much about it, but it is said to be a religion of peace, a religion of forgiveness, and all of this good stuff. So when she started Buddhism, I guess she felt it in her heart that she couldn't like, wholeheartedly commit to this religion while she see harbor hate in her heart, hate for who, hate for Travis. I mean, he killed her mother, and her uncle. So, I mean, it is justified for her to have a little rage and anger towards him, right? Well, according to Martha, she thought it wasn't a good thing at all. What does she do? Start writing letters to prison to Travis. Travis was still saying, I'm so sorry, I'm not a bad person, what and what. And I guess it got to a point that she believed him. They were corresponding to and fro. She would send letters, he sent letters. And then when her family found out, they were like, be very careful with this guy, a leopard isn't just, change his skin or whatever, right? But she was like, no, there's something about this guy. I can see his soul. He's a pure human being. His circumstances is what, and now he's a changed person. Like I can feel it. And I actually vehemently have to keep, in touch with him and help him. And when he comes out, I want to be there for him. Whatever. Her parents were flabbergasted to say the least. Her family, I mean. So it was after 20 years, fast forward to 20 years, after Travis spent 20 years in prison, it was time for him to, be considered for parole, right? Guess what? Who was on the forefront begging the government and the parole board to parole Travis? Yes, of course, it was Martha. Martha with the good heart, Martha the angel, you know. So she was telling them about how I have been talking to him for the past 20 years. He's a changed man. He has paid for his crime. What if you release him? I'll make sure that he remains a good member of the society. I'll give him a job. I'll give him where to stay. And whatever. And I bet you that is one of the reasons why the parole board considered him for parole, and they did consider him for parole after 20 years. So when he was released, Martha made good on her promise. She gave him a job. He was working in her estate. And Martha's sisters and relatives were still trying to tell her, no, this is a bad idea. I mean, you can forgive someone without, being that close in with you, without bringing them back into your life. You can forgive them, then forget about them, right? Of course, Martha didn't hear that, right? Even Travis's mother told Martha to be careful. She was like, my son, I know him very well. Just be careful, right? But she wasn't careful. She just wanted to do good. She honestly just wanted to do good. So fast forward to 2020. Miss Martha did a very good. I think she sold an event. She sold out an event, and she had like $14,000 in cash. So she kept it, in a safe or whatever in the house, within the house. And guess who knew about it? Travis, right? The next day she came to the office to voila, the money is gone. And of course, like I said, Travis knew about it, and immediately she was like, who is the likely culprit? Of course, it was Travis. So she called Travis. She was like, "Where is the money? Why did you take this money? He said, "No, I didn't take any money," and blah 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 blah. But of course, she knew he took it, right? So what did she do? She was like, "Yes, I took a chance on you. I'll have the nice to you. Everybody told me this and that, but I wanted to see the good in you. But I've tried my best, So you should go make yourself useful somewhere else." Like she sacked him, right? Which is bravo, right? She shouldn't have employed him in the first place. But that is not the end of the story, like I said, because no good deed goes unpunished. No good deed goes unpunished, unfortunately. So what did Travis do? He decided I have to get back to her for, I don't know, for psyching him up for being a good person or whatever. What did he do? He came into our house, right, at night, the same way he came into the house 22 decades later, right? He came into the house, he broke into the house at night. Yeah, he broke into the house at night and bludgeoned. You know what bludgeoned means? Like he bludgeoned her to death, you know. Before Martha, gave off the ghost, she pressed a silent alarm she had in her house that is supposed to like alert the police whereas whenever there's any, problem, right? So when the police got there, they saw a figure of a man trying to jump off the window. They were suspicious, of course, because this woman just pressed the silent alarm, SOS, she's in trouble. So they started trying to get the man. Guess what? The man jumped out of the window, entered Martha's car, and tried to get away. But now the police had blocked all of the exits. Where was he going to go? So he came down from the car, started running. They were following him on foot, of course. Guess what he did? He jumped into the lake. I told you the house was overlooking a beautiful lake. The police, I don't know. Everybody was wondering, like, why did he jump off the lake? Is it that he wanted to unalive himself? Or maybe he was under some kind of substance that was lying to him? Or maybe he just saw it as, I don't want to go back to prison and my life is over anyways. Nobody would actually know because Travis never resurfaced. They stood by the lake for a long time and decided, he's no longer alive. So divers came in and then they fished out the body. Now, nobody really knew exactly what went on in the house or with Martha and Travis because both of the people that could tell us are no longer with us. Folk and past, she was just an angel, right? But come on, let's talk about this for a second. Like, would you like invite somebody into your house, into your life that unalived your mother and your cousin? I don't care about whether you're born again now, but like, no, no, it's okay for you to feel rage. It's okay for you to be angry at somebody who did something like that. Okay, it is okay. And let me say that it was only Martha that was kind to him. All of her sisters and her relatives they didn't like Travis for obvious reasons. So now, what do you say about this story, though? I know you're supposed to be good, you're supposed to forgive, turn the other cheek and whatnot, but just look at this very, very critically. Like, I don't know. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. I told you in the beginning that this is like a badly written movie. Now, if I didn't tell you this story actually happened, I'm pretty sure you would not believe me, right? How can the same culprit unalive a mother, and her child 20 years apart in the same place, at the same time of the day, in the same house, using practically maybe the same weapon? I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. It's so unfortunate that she was just too good for this world and then he took advantage of it and I just know. It's just unfortunate, Please tell me what you think about this below. I'd like to hear from you. Please like, comment, share, follow, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I would really appreciate it. So I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.